So I'm gonna first, because of our previous conversation, put it back on you.
Mm-hmm.
Of how did you feel about that, and what has been your biggest focus point from previous lessons? Like, is it on beat one, two, three? What's kind of the biggest?
My biggest things that I've been trying to improve on are the emphasis on one, but also not cutting off the duration of that first note. And then same thing with the last note before taking the breath, not cutting that off either,
Yeah,
giving it its full. I feel like that is really hard because you want to take that big breath because you're like, well, this is right. I
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
go.
yeah.
So when I first started learning it, I had a large tendency of cutting off both of those notes.
Got it. Yeah, so let's start with the big beats, okay? So I'm gonna have you take the rhythm out right now. So we're gonna go bum bum. So we're gonna go the pickup bum
Mm-hmm.
bum. Let's take out the 16th. Bum 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 bum. So you're subdividing the long beats 2 and 3, and we're taking out the 16th. Okay?
Okay, so it's bum 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 bum.
So no, we're gonna go. You're gonna take out the 16th. So you're gonna
So
go.
I'm still playing that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Bum 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 bum
Okay.
bum.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
So just the bottom, the middle note. Good. Okay, now I want you to think of this as it's in 3, right? So it needs to have like I know it's like a waltz, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Boom, 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 boom. So it needs to sound like it's in 3.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, ready, go.
Mm.
Two.
Uh, uh, right, that was it?
Yep,
Okay,
yep.
okay. Sorry.
Good. Okay, now I'm gonna have you turn them all into to 8. So you go bum 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 bum. Now, musically, okay, you're doing a good job with the beat 1. The problem with the beat 1, if we do, and this is gonna be like one of those things that you're like, oh, this is sounds different from something else. But I think if the beat 1 grows, it feeds the music. So bum bum ba dum bing still has an accent. Bum ba dum bing bum ba dum bing bum ba dum bing. Right.
Okay.
So the beat 1 can grow. So right now, since we're still going a little slow, I want you to go bum beam bum bum, but I want the accent to be there. Bum beam bum bum beam 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 bum 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 beam bum bum beam 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 bum 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 beam bum bum beam beam beam. So
Okay.
even those subdivisions can can set
Yeah,
up the
grow.
music. Do you hear how I'm doing
Yes.
it? Like I'm growing the subdivisions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going bum beam bum bum beam 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 bum 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 beam bum bum beam 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 bum 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 beam bum bum. Okay, so still thinking musically, even though we're subdividing. Good.
Sorry.
And
I
there's
didn't I
4.
didn't know where to take a breath.
No, you're good. See, now you're using the air.
Yeah.
You can't. There's no hiding on there. So what this does though is it's gonna train that quick breath.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're now having to hit the tongue's having to hit the note 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
So you're having to go dun 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 dun,
Yeah.
and now you're having to build a quick breath. So I have like a secret agenda that's going on. Like I'm making you do other stuff that we're not talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna help the ride out. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now you can kind of tell even on that one how you've kind of painted yourself a corner dynamically.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
like you're like, wait, I can't grow anymore. I've already grown too
Yeah.
much, right? So just think about that. Just for an experiment, we're not doing this in an audition. I want you to start like mezzo
Mm-hmm.
forte. So I want you like boom 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 boom. Sorry, boom 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 boom. So we'll go mezzo forte plus forte, and then mezzo forte. Okay, so this is going to be your loudest measure.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
So mezzo forte plus forte mezzo. Still that same subdivision. Bum 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 bum. Yeah, that sounds closer to the piece.
Yes.
That sounds closer to the piece. Let's do it again. Get a little comfortable with it.
Ah, that's hard.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think anybody's going to argue with that. Nobody's going to be like, oh, he didn't play them all the same.
Mm-hmm.
I think it feeds the music, and you can start to hear the magic of Wagner when you start doing it like that. The challenge is to keep that, like, we have to ingrain that so much
Mm-hmm.
so that when we play the more difficult rhythm, that we still have that kind of line. Okay, let's do it one more time, and then I'm going to switch it up on you.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Okay. Now, um, I want to work on the second half of this, but I want to hear it as written. Okay.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and let's just try it as written, but keep that
Same.
same dynamic thing. Yeah, that's much better. You cut the
I
first beat.
forget. I
Yeah,
heard. Yep.
you heard it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you did the first time that
Mm-hmm.
you played it for me, and you hear it now because you're like, wait, I cut off my the beats 2, 3 of the eighth note, right?
Yes. Yes.
So that's why the subdivision is really useful in a lot of different ways. Um, so now we're going to work on the second half, and this is really going to get that E to pop out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I want you to slow it down, and we're going to slur it.
Okay.
So we're going to go da dee ah.
So okay. So now I have a question.
Yeah,
For that low E, would you use 2, 3, 4?
that's what I use. Yeah.
Okay.
You're talking about second or
I was using just two because of like the false tone thing.
uh-huh.
But if you wanted to like pop out, I can try to use two because I know it's not really gonna like
Right.
come out if I'm just using two.
Yeah, one of my teachers he used to talk about how there's like an event that happens on that note, but rarely do you hear the E.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are a lot of tuba players. They'll like there's something that happens there, but it's not an E.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think the false tone takes a lot of development. Like you could do it, um, but on these tubas on the inertial, it's got a good because it's a smaller tuba. You can get a good kind of bite to it. Let's try 2, 3, 4
Mm-hmm.
in the lesson today, just to work on that low register. Um, because I'll say like in an audition of 120 tuba players, there'll be like 5 people, maybe 10 that can actually play the low E.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's a very comparative business.
Yes, sir.
They're comparing you to everybody else. So if you can do something that 99% can't, then
Mm-hmm.
it kind of puts you ahead. But even beyond the Ride of the Valkyries, I like to use these excerpts to develop to show players their kind of their weaknesses in
Mm-hmm.
their playing. And so this is a great low low chop developer,
Mm-hmm.
right? To be able to articulate loudly in the low range is one of the harder things to do on the instrument. So even if it's your goal is not to win an orchestral job, it's just going to make you a more complete player if you can play down there, and it helps the high range. So let's go ahead. Let's go body ah, and if you need to take a breath, da dee. So go body ah, breath ah ee.
Okay. At dynamic or the mezzo forte?
Um, let's do good question. Let's do mezzo forte and then the low E of forte. So we'll go da e ah,
Okay.
da e. Yeah. Okay, now I want you to try to get that E. So you went ba e
Mm-hmm.
ah. See if we can get that E to happen right at the beginning of the note. Yeah, a little quicker. You hear it? There's like a little gap. Good. Like you know how fountains? Can you just play a B to an E? E, oh, just a B natural to an E, and slur to. So
Like that?
uh huh. Good. Now G sharp to E. Good. A gap came in. See if we can get that. Good. Try the B to E, and I want it to go. I want the front of the note to be fortissimo. So, yeah. That's hard. Yeah. So you have a little bit of a shift in the embouchure. You know, which is not. I've played with people that have them, and they deal with if you shift, you can have like a lot of power down there, but then you have to spend your
That
time.
gap.
Yeah, you have to spend your time smoothing out the
Mm-hmm.
gap, right? Um,
That's actually one of the things we're working on in my lesson because she's like, "You have a great lower register." She's like, "But one of the etudes I'm working on is the Snedeker."
okay.
And so slurring in those,
Uh huh.
we're hearing a lot of those,
Uh
we're
huh.
hearing
Uh
those
huh. Uh
gaps.
huh.
So,
So like that's kind of the thing you have to kind of choose as a player. Like, do I want to spend my time working on playing with one embouchure,
mm-hmm.
um, or working on smoothing out the two? Because they're kind of like two different embouchures.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a shift is what I call it. And then I had a teacher that was like, "What if you play all in one embouchure, then everything kind of feeds together, right?"
So is it just opening, opening up?
Yeah, like you're kind of your embouchure is going here.
Mm-hmm.
Here, where's my mouthpiece? Your embouchure is going from here, and then you're shifting.
Mm. Because I know I kind of like tilt my head a little bit when I get into the lower register, so that's probably like what I'm doing is going like that.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's like I said, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it depends on which thing as a player you want to work on because they
Yeah.
both take work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to know that you do it,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not just happening,
Mm-hmm.
and then you can kind of work on it. So because you have a great sound when you get down there, she's not wrong. So let's go ahead. We're gonna now try to. This will be interesting. We're gonna try to articulate,
Okay.
but I want them to be short. So I want you to go, huh, huh, huh.
Okay.
So let's say forte, F sharp, G sharp, E.
Okay.
Ooh, that's it.
Mm.
Yeah, that was a good one. Good. Can you do it just with no tongue, all air? Yep.
Mm. Even there, I can hear it going.
Yeah, and but the air breath, it's cool to have it with that.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're really learning. So now we're gonna put the tongue in, and I bet it pops faster. Okay, tongue in.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like the F sharp and the G sharp are way cleaner.
Yeah.
The E is kind of like a bullseye. You're like
You-
if your tuba had a hand, you're like trying to shake hands. You're trying to agree where the E is right now.
Mhm.
Like you're both in disagreement right now.
Mhm.
Like the tuba's telling you you're putting it somewhere, and the tuba's like, no, it's got to be a little bit lower. And so you're
Mhm.
gonna have to figure out with your tuba where that E is. But doing those breath attacks down there,
Mhm.
and then slowing it down and slurring, that all that stuff's gonna really feed into to that.
Sorry, I'm just gonna write that in.
Yeah. So the first part, and you can do the same thing on the second half, but we want to subdivide in different ways
Mhm.
to improve our quick breath and to make sure our note links are correct.
Mm-hmm.
And then while we're subdividing, we can put in that musical stuff where we start a little bit softer, grow up louder, and don't tell anybody, right? Like if go into Dr. Clarkson's lesson and just play it this way, and just see if she's like, you need to play it louder or whatever. Just
Mm-hmm.
don't give her a heads
Hey,
up.
I learned.
Yeah, don't give her a heads up. Just see if it like how it translates to or for one of the other guys. And then for the low range, don't worry about being quick on it. Say, okay, I'm going to really figure out where's that low E, slurring down to it, tonguing,
Mm-hmm.
you know, really working on how can I articulate down there. I think these things are going to be really good to take your excerpt to the next level. Let's go ahead if you're cool. Let's go ahead and do some Prokofiev 5.
Yeah. Yes, sir. I didn't even ask where are you from?
I'm from Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I live in Denton right now.
I feel like everybody's from Texas nowadays.
Well, it's a big state. Are you from Texas?
I am.
Okay. You said you went to Corpus Christi, so I thought you probably were.
Yes. So,
Let's just play from 3 to that B after 4.
okay. Okay. That first note is my struggle point. Getting that first note just to pronounce.
Yeah. Good. So I would say the rhythm on this with metronome is crucial because we're playing legato and it's a softer dynamic and it doesn't seem as rhythmic as the Ride of the Valkyries, right? But because of that, we tend to drag as tubists. It's not just you. It's like one of the things that we struggle with. The mezzo forte was quite a bit louder. So
Okay.
it was kind of jolting, so I would go a little bit less on that. Like it's okay to have, but yeah, it just needs to be like half a degree louder, right? Okay, now same thing. I'm gonna have you subdivide this in bo 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 be ba 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 be ba ba be ba 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 bum bum. Okay,
Okay.
so you're taking like the quarters and we're making them into eighths. Boom 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 be bum bum bum. Okay.
Still doing the dynamics part?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Now this one. Bum 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 bum.
Okay. Starting from there over here.
Yeah, over there. Try again. Ah, close.
Bum 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 bum.
Bum bum. Yep. Bum 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 bum. Try again. Good. Now from the beginning to there, all subdivided. Good.
That's a brain exercise.
Uh huh. Okay, now we're gonna play it as written.
Yes, sir.
the subdivision because you're dragging a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna
Okay.
start to together. Two, ready, go. Bum, 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 bum. Again,
I felt it that
two,
time.
ready, go. Bum, 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 bum. You see how okay, you're dragging a little bit on your breath. So let's just now do it as written without me. Good, good.
Yes, that felt. Yeah.
So what's crazy about the rhythm is I think sometimes it gets like mislabeled as like it's anti music making,
Mhm.
because it's like it seems rigid, but it gives order and life to the music when things are placed in the right place. You know what I mean? It actually keeps the music moving and alive, um, and it's easier to listen to because it all lines up together and the relationships. Like when you don't play it precisely in time, then you're adding you're adding time to the measure.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Like
sir.
even if it's like a 16th rest because your breath is too long,
Mhm.
it's now kind of like, and then the the measure doesn't feel like it's in 4/4 or 3/4 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So it's you definitely have rubato and you can definitely have these kind of things, but we need to make sure that we are playing um, the big beats in time. Okay, let's start from the beginning now.
Okay.
Okay, and then uh, I want you to keep thinking of the time. I think that's going to take some drilling with the metronome,
Mhm.
but I think let's talk about a little bit about the music. Okay,
Okay.
I've phrased this a lot of different ways. You talked about the first note being an issue. I just practiced the breath attacks that we did in the previous one. That really helped me kind of know right where the F is, where I'm like, and I was just kind of, oh, oh, oh. So I'm going to leave you to figuring out that, but I would just say do the breath attacks over and over again to really know where your mezzo piano F is.
Mhm.
Then we get into the music. So I like to go. Sometimes I would phrase it to the B flat. Sometimes I go to the E natural. See which one you like. Or I think going to the
That's a good
accidental.
one.
Yeah, that second one, right?
Mhm.
That's kind of what I
Leaning
think.
into it.
Which is kind of counterintuitive for most of the time. I kind of always think the highest note of the phrase
Mhm.
is, you know what I mean?
Like
So
the arrival
yeah, yeah,
one.
yeah. So let's try to phrase this to that E natural.
Okay.
Ah. Yeah, way better on the time. Way better on the time.
It felt like a
Uh huh.
in the pocket.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because you're the metronome of the you're
Mhm.
the one that's pushing, and the conductors are waiting for you to be behind. So they're
Mhm.
going to jump on you if you are. That was way better. Now the only thing I would say here is you played all four of the notes the same volume. Let's see if we can
Still
grow
low.
and make sure that E natural is
The loudest.
the biggest one. Yeah. Yeah. Again. Nice. That was it. That
Cool.
sounded good. And then the same thing, right? It just repeats right here.
Mhm.
And then that stuff we were talking about with the ride, where you crescendo down to
Yes.
that E. So you would take the B flat and you just go yeah, and you try to have the impact right at the beginning of the note. That's where the benefit for you as a player, because you'll blow your chops apart and you'll have to figure it out. But just look at it as like not wrong or right. It's you negotiating where the tuba wants it and where your mouth wants it, and then you kind of like, they'll start at odds, and then it'll get kind of like this, and eventually you'll know right where that note is for that F and for that E flat when you're working through this.
Yes, sir.
Sound good?
Yes, sir.
Awesome, man. Good work today.
Thank you.
Yeah.